Welcome back. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson had a birthday party during the first COVID-19 lockdown in June 2020 when social gatherings indoors were banned, according to ITV News, a report from them in the last few minutes. Mr Johnson's office is quoted by ITV as saying, in response, a group of staff working in Number 10 that gathered briefly in the Cabinet room after a meeting to wish the Prime Minister a happy birthday took place. He was there for less than 10 minutes. That report from ITV News. Boris Johnson having a birthday party during a lockdown, apparently. Our chief political correspondent, John Craig, joins me now from Westminster. John, we're waiting to hear from Keir Starmer and his reaction to that. But tell us more about these reports.
Claiming that there was a birthday party, a surprise get-together on the afternoon of June the 19th. That's the Prime Minister's birthday, just after 2 p.m. That was a Friday. That day, there was a news conference in Downing Street hosted by Gavin Williamson, who was then the Education Secretary, announcing that schools were going back. At that time, the rules were you could have a gathering of 6 people outdoors, 2 people indoors. Now, the Number 10 spokesman goes on to say that ITV News is saying later that family friends were hosted upstairs in the Prime Minister's flat. This is totally untrue, Number 10 is saying. In line with the rules at the time, the Prime Minister hosted a small number of family members outside that evening. That's from Number 10.
I think we can have a listen to what Keir Starmer is saying in response to that.
This is yet more evidence that we've got a Prime Minister who believes that the rules that he made don't apply to him. And so we've got a Prime Minister and a government that spend their whole time mopping up sleaze and deceit. Meanwhile, millions of people are struggling to pay their bills. And we can't afford to go on with this chaotic, rudderless government. The Prime Minister is a national distraction, and he's got to go.
It would be hard for the Prime Minister to use the defence now that it was a work event in this context.
The Prime Minister has already used up 4 different defences to these allegations. And all of them point to a Prime Minister who is not being honest. And, you know, weeks and weeks now of allegations, weeks and weeks of deceit from the Prime Minister. Meanwhile, millions of people struggling to pay their bills. This is chaotic. It's rudderless and it's got to go.
The Prime Minister has said repeatedly previously, all guidance was followed completely in Number 10. We have followed the rules throughout. I can tell you once again, I certainly broke no rules. Do you think he has lied to Parliament?
He started by saying there were no parties and all the rules were followed. Then he said, there were parties, I've just found out, and I'm furious. Then there was evidence that he'd gone to a party and he said, I didn't realise it was a party. And then last week he was on the 4th defence, which was nobody told me it was against the rules. And now these allegations mean that all of that can't possibly be true. So do I think he's being dishonest? Yes, I do. Do I think that he is a distraction when there are real issues going on in terms of energy bills, cost of living, prices going up that people are very concerned about? It's complete and utter distraction. And that's why in the national interest he's just got to go.
So many party allegations now, it's sort of almost hard to distinguish one from the other. Do you think it's possible for him to hang on even to the end of Sue Gray's report?
He shouldn't hang on. I think the public have made their minds up. I think public opinion has already concluded that he broke the rules that he made and that he hasn't told the truth about it. That means he hasn't got the authority to lead the country when we're in the middle of huge challenges. And therefore, he has to go for the good of the country.
Lying to Parliament always has been a resigning offence. Do you think there is enough evidence yet that that is what has happened?
Well, I don't think that he has told the truth about this. I think the public don't think he's told the truth about this. Any Prime Minister who misleads Parliament should resign.
Thank you very much. Great.
Keir Starmer there reacting to these latest reports. John Craig is still with me. So, I mean, Boris Johnson racking up these parties, or alleged parties. Will Sue Gray, do you think, be looking at this one on his birthday?
There are two allegations here, one about an event in the afternoon, another about one in the evening. On the first one, Number 10 is offering an explanation. On the second, a denial. Now, the first one, according to ITV News, it's alleged the PM's wife, Carrie Johnson, helped organise a surprise get-together for him on the afternoon of 19th of June, just after 2 p.m. Now, a surprise get-together, you could argue, if it was a surprise, the Prime Minister wouldn't have known about it. What Number 10 is saying about that is that they gathered, a group of staff working in Number 10 that day gathered briefly in the Cabinet room after a meeting to wish the PM a happy birthday. He was there for less than 10 minutes. Now, the ITV report says up to 30 people attended the event in the Cabinet room after he returned from an official visit to a school in Hertfordshire. ITV News understands the interior designer Lulu Little, not a member of Number 10 staff, also attended. At the time, she was renovating the Number 10 flat. Now, the second allegation, ITV News also understands on the evening of the 19th of June, family friends were hosted upstairs in the Prime Minister's residence. That's presumably the flat above number 11 Downing Street, in an apparent further breach of the rules. Now, on that, Number 10 says, this is totally untrue. In line with the rules at the time, the PM hosted a small number of family members outside that evening, the Number 10 spokesman added. Now, the rules at the time were 6 people outdoors. Number 10 not saying exactly how many were there, but it says a small number of family members outside. So, 2 allegations. One, there's an explanation. The other, there is a denial.